Well, we probably won't get the series rebooted. It wasn't the intention of making the film. But thank you. I don't know. We're open to it. I think we really stumbled onto the thing that we do best, and that is buy people beer and get them in the detox. Not recommended. There's plenty of other ways to go about helping people, but we're open to the idea. Yeah, most definitely. How do you top something like an experience like that? I think that's what always changed us.
How many stories had you done before this? Was this the last one?
Actually, the Norman episode was the last one. We did about 20-some stories before that.
Have you gone back to any of the others?
We have, yeah, in some of the other shows we've gone back. And that you go to random1.com online, and you can see some of those episodes. And sometimes we did some updates for some of those even after the series. And he talks about the pressure not being really the pressure of the show, it was something with the girl. We were concerned about that, and I wanted to play all that through, even potentially accusing us of maybe, well, we exploited these guys, and that's what this is. No matter what, we try not to do it in a damaging way, but certainly there were repercussions to him being a hero. But ultimately, him becoming a hero was keeping him sober. It was when he had this failed relationship with a woman within his year, 8 months, he fell off. We have considered taking him out of the state and working on that right now, so if anyone has any suggestions, please see me after.
Well, I like the way the panel brought out the humanity that these are individuals, and when you talk about disease, how can we get it into our country's mind that, this is a disease and these people are treatment? It seems like we're just falling through the failure.
Absolutely, I can't agree with you more. I don't know I think keep showing these stories. I dealt with 2 different Marks. You saw 2 different Normans. I cannot even look at that Norman on the screen. I don't know who that guy is. The guy in the beginning. I'm having like these amazing conversations with this guy. He was gripped by something completely different.
It's so disappointing. I watched A&E and I missed it. The show also. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Don't open old wounds, right? Well, we wouldn't have been here, A&E wasn't nice enough to give us the rights back to do this. And they really believed in it. The programming side, but the business side was like, wonderful. That's another documentary we'll make about Nielsen. There's 8,000 people that vote for what you watch, and I guarantee you don't know them. Sorry. Yes. Yes, we did, and they just kind of chose not to. The kids were involved in his life for 8 months. Mark was sober for 8 months before he fell off, which is ironic because he was only in rehab for 27 days or 28 days because he had insurance, so that's all it would allow. I got to tell you, one thing we've learned: long-term rehab is key. As Norman called it, a spin drive. They take you in for 7 days and they send you back out on the street. Mark was dropped off by an ambulance from detox probably 6 times before we met him. So he would go to detox for 6 days, the ambulance would drop him off, he'd hop out of the back, and walk to the liquor store. So no long-term treatment was set up. And I'm trying to get him into long-term we are right now. There's a 3 to 6 month waiting list. Mark's going to be dead in 3 to 6 months. So it's like, to me, there's some problem with that. While Mark was sober, he got probably half a dozen or 2 dozen people sober. So even though he fell off, they're still out working it. They're banding together like brothers and bringing other people into the whole thing. So it's never in vain, and eventually, it works, and some work sooner than others.
Are you still filming?
No, now we're just working with him. As far as I'm concerned, this is kind of over for now. Yeah, it's gotten to the point now. So we'll keep trying, right?
So the interesting thing that John's original idea was to do documentary film, because he's a documentary filmmaker. The idea of a television show, and being on A&E, I think, as I said in the film at one point, was absolutely a miracle that it got on TV at all, given the nature of the stories. Because literally every single person that was picked randomly, and that's just so scary to television that wants things to rehearse. From our standpoint, it's when it finally went to television, what really changed it for us was this story. Because initially, John's idea, which was the right one, was to do a mixture of light and heavy stories. So there were all kinds of different stories that you never know who you were going to get. So you guys would be out on the street, and you pick somebody that looked completely together when you watch them fall apart in front of our eyes in 24 hours. And we pick other people, Mark, Norman, that you would never normally talk to, and then all of a sudden this magnificent human being would emerge. And it just reiterated this thought that we all have is that you can't judge a book by its cover. So we just never knew. And so as a result of that, Mark's show ran, and we had a big internet site that we built separate from A&E because we knew that the audience would want to come in and talk about this, and they did, in fact, thousands. And as a result of that, the letter showed up, and it changed us. It changed the whole direction of the show. It changed the rules about sort of how we play things out in the field. And so when this was all done, and we sort of settled after the disappointment of not having a second season, this film was just a natural outgrowth of that. We want to share it with all of you about what happened to us, how it changed, and then this magnificent story between Mark and Norman and this whole issue.
And we didn't do the disease justice because we showed happy endings. On the series, they all yeah, everything's happy and they're sober now, everything's good. So when he fell off the last time, we're like, this is, and I always felt like this last time the truth here, that people need to know that these guys relapse. The idea was that we would never pay for anything. And that kept all the sponsors out of there as well. There was never prizes and that kind of thing. And also the philosophy was that it would create a real bond between two people. Because when you give them a dollar, when you solve a problem with money, you don't create a relationship. You kind of pay it off. So we would try to convince people to buy into the story. I think there are times when, we need to give money for things. We've done it again for Mark. We actually got him into detox again, and he was paid for it because there's just no way to get him in a away. So I think there's just certain situations where we're dealing with a bureaucracy. It's not a human being. It's really a bureaucracy. It's a big machine. So those are the times when we actually
would say they wanted to send money. We had no accounts, we had no rules about that. We eventually set up a couple of things around certain characters that needed a particular thing. Speaking of the piano, the one you bought. But I'll tell you an interesting Star Wars story. We had this kid in his room, and he's taking care of his mom, and you can see this 14-year-old doesn't have any money, and he starts showing us his room, these guys, and he says, here's these Star Wars posters, I don't have any money to buy any others. The next day, because I watched all the web stuff to me, because that was the thing that really is of interest to me, there was this daily of Star Wars fans that went all the way up to George Lucas at Lucasfilm. That, this kid got a package like you wouldn't believe. People were saying, I've been saving these toys forever and ever, and I'm just going to give them to them. And you go, wow.
We're not sure what the distribution thing is for this film is, but I really know that there's an audience that it serves. And we want to make that available at LostInWoonsocket.com. Also, randomone.com will eventually kind of link together. So at some point, there will be, the film will be for sale there. So if you're interested and you want to sign up, just give us your email. We're not going to sell it to anyone except Best Buy, Target, and Walmart. Whatever works. But no, if you want to give us your email, we have Malcolm and Ortega will have the clipboards, and we'll let you know. And we probably will offer it to people down here in Austin, at some reduced price first. We don't want to put it in the hands of a distributor that's not going to get it to the right audience. That's something we decided. So we don't want people to just sit on it. So that's our goal. Thank you all very much. You guys have been a huge